Hi, my name is Daniel Brown, and I'm the CEO of Myriad Real Estate Group, and this is going to be our February market update. Things have changed and they've changed fast. So over the holiday season, I was talking about in previous videos how this was a buyer's market, super narrow window of time where buyers could take advantage of sellers, get closing costs, negotiate the price down. Well, it seems as soon as the ball dropped and we got into 2023 that the market has absolutely shifted. So here in Greater Phoenix, it almost looks like a straight line going up in terms of homes under contract. In a 3-week period, homes under contract has increased by 22%. Last week, when mortgage rates dropped into the high fives, we saw purchase applications increase nationwide by 29%, which tells me that's a leading indicator that we will see even more homes under contract in the next 30, 60, 90 days. Imagine all those people that are getting financed right now or getting pre-approved for a mortgage will turn into buyers and enter the buyer's market. So the spring season is in full effect. What hasn't changed is the lack of overall inventory. So here in Greater Phoenix and Maricopa County, there's about 12,000 homes listed for sale, which is super, super low. For a metropolis of our size, I've always said that we should be closer to 35,000 homes on the market. Now, granted, if at any time we had 35,000 homes on the market over the last 8 months, home prices and values would have fallen pretty quickly just due to the low demand in housing. So because that inventory was kept relatively low, buyer demand was relatively low, it really put a floor on how far home values would really come off their highs. So now over the last 3 weeks, we have seen that really pivot and change. So anecdotally, we wrote 4 different offers for clients this last weekend, and every single one of those deals had multiple offers. Our clients got beat out. The home sold for at or slightly above list price, no concessions, and in one instance, the competing buyer waived appraisal contingency and waived their inspection period. So I haven't seen this kind of competitiveness since probably May, June of last year when mortgage rates started to go up. So I don't think that this is the type of market where you can just list a home at any price and it can be in any condition and you're going to get multiple offers. This isn't 2021, but the market is certainly shifting where homes that are nicely updated, that are priced relatively accurately, are going to receive potentially multiple offers, have multiple parties interested in the home, and buyers really need to start to become comfortable with paying at or maybe even slightly above the list price for those homes and not asking the seller for any sort of concessions. So what can sellers expect as we head into the spring market? Well, I still think you need to present a good product. You still need to have the home cleaned, needs to be presented well, marketed well, have good curb appeal, do all the things that I've talked about previously in order to have your home ready for sale. If you do those things, I think that you're going to have a lot of interest in your home. My general rule of thumb when it comes to sellers is if you've been listed for 30 days and have had consistent traffic through your home, but no offers, you're probably close in your pricing, but you're not really there yet, so you should consider doing a price drop. If you've been listed for 30 days and have had very little activity, then you're probably still priced too high and you need to be a little bit more aggressive in that price drop. But the good news for sellers is that pendulum is swinging back over to your side and you are not having to negotiate as much as you were just 3 or 4 weeks ago. So you're not necessarily going to have to pay those concessions to a buyer to buy their rate down. You're not going to have to negotiate potentially off of the list price as much. And if you are presenting a really good product and priced right, you may end up with multiple offers and selling for more than you thought you would originally. As we move forward, what can buyers expect as we get into the spring season? Well, inventory is still super depressed. There's only about 12,000 homes actively listed for sale in all of Maricopa County. So that's between houses, townhomes, and condos. The good news is that is way up off the bottom, which was 3,500, but still not where we should be for a city of our size. For Greater Phoenix area, we should be somewhere around 35,000, 36,000 homes listed for sale. and we are probably at a third of the way there. So inventory is still super depressed. So that means if you're coming across homes that are priced well, super attractive looking, updated, that if you're interested in that home, odds are someone else is interested in that home, and now you need to be a little bit more aggressive probably in your initial offer. There's no guarantee that a seller, if they get multiple offers, is going to counter everyone. They could just move forward with one of the other offers. So there's no guarantees, just period. When you're a buyer, the seller doesn't have to do anything. So I would be more strategic in the offers that you're making on those nicer homes that are priced accurately. If the home is in need of repair and just doesn't have the appeal that more updated homes have, you still might be able to negotiate. But I think that we're getting further and further away from that window of time where buyers had all the power. So just be prepared and take it by a case-by-case scenario. If you're working with an agent, have your agent reach out to those listing agents to find out, do you have multiple offers? What is the seller looking for? Post-possessions are going to become a thing again, where sellers need to stay in their home after closing in order to find their next home. So remember that most sellers become buyers, right? Whether it's in our market here in Phoenix or in another one, most sellers don't sell to become homeless. So they have to go into another situation. And so they may need more time to stay in their property so that they can then find a home. So I think it's more important than it has been over the last 6 months or so to find that information out and start to be a little bit more aggressive in your offer strategies. As a lot of people predicted, myself included, mortgage rates have fallen off their highs. So they peaked at about 7.25%, and now they're in the low sixes, high fives, which is really good. And I think that trend is going to continue. Basically, as the rate of inflation continues to fall, I think mortgage rates will continue to fall. So that's really good news for the housing market in general. Typically, when rates are lower, that encourages people to actually sell their home. So we will see more inventory come on the market as rates continue to fall. Because if you think about it, not a lot of people were super motivated to sell their home when they were at 2.75, 3, 4% to go into 7.25. Something with a 5 in front of it is a little bit more digestible for them, especially if they can get a higher price for their home. So I think we'll see more listing activity happen as rates continue to fall. I think the Fed probably going to raise rates in February, potentially raise rates again in March, but remember that does not really impact mortgage rates at all. So I think that the market has already baked in a 25 basis point hike in February. That's my prediction of what the Fed's going to do. They'll probably do another 25 basis point come March, and then I think that they're going to hold for a while. So that is really bringing this stability back to all the markets. Stock market has been in the green this year, so it's reacting positively. And so the Fed may be able to actually orchestrate the soft landing that they've been talking about, where they can raise rates without pushing us into a recession. Only time will tell if that happens. If we do end up in a recession, that is typically favorable for mortgage rates as the Fed starts to back off and actually do rate cuts, and we see mortgage rates tend to fall in a recessionary environment. So either way, as long as inflation continues to fall and we don't end up in a recession, rates will come down. If we do end up in a recession, I still think mortgage rates will fall as well. So the one wild card to all of this is unemployment. So unemployment has been historically low. It has been at 3.5%, which is the one shoe that still needs to drop, and why we aren't in a recession yet is you can't have a recession without increasing unemployment. I know there's been a lot of layoffs in the finance sector for mortgages, a lot of layoffs in the tech sector, but you have to keep in mind that these two industries hired a ton of people going into the pandemic to keep up with all the demand. Everybody and their mother was refinancing their home when rates fell to 3%. Everybody and their mother was buying a Peloton when we were all locked into our houses. And so these companies overhired to deal with that extra demand. Well, now they've laid all these people off that they hired going into the pandemic, and now they're just at pre-pandemic levels. And so that's why I don't think these layoffs are as big of an impact as the media would like us to believe. And so as long as employment stays strong, then we're good. But that is the one thing that everybody's kind of watching super closely, is if unemployment skyrockets, then we could see more forced selling in the housing market, where people need to sell their house because they're unemployed. So that is kind of the one thing that I'm paying attention to see if it will kind of change the trend lines that we're on right now. So just to recap, the market shifted really quickly. Our spring season is in full effect. It's only been 3 weeks, so will this trend continue? I don't know, but I think that it will. It is matching previous years as we head further into 2023. So I am confident that the spring season is here. So if you're considering selling, it's absolutely a good time to sell. Buyers are obviously out. They're out in force with these lower interest rates. If you're a buyer, you're going to need to be a little bit more competitive. That narrow window of time I was talking about, I think, is closing, with each passing day. Nice homes are going to get a lot of interest, especially if they're priced right. So take that into consideration with your offers. And the spring selling season really runs January through June. So I think it's going to be a really good start to the year here in Phoenix in regards to housing. If you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to give this a like and subscribe. And thank you so much. We will see you next time.